is what it is. I mean, if it's gonna save my life, then I'm gonna keep it.
Tammy Slaton hasn't been known to make the best relationship decisions. If anything, she's always seemed to make the worst. But time and time again, we've all shown her support through it all. And now it looks like there is a major update on her love life, which in itself is really shocking. After Tammy checked herself into rehab because of her weight, we've gotten little to no updates on her personal life. She's been really quiet online about everything going on with her, which is unlike her, and no one really knows why. And even though she's been strangely quiet, she recently just dropped an update about her current relationship status. Not too long ago, Tammy released a TikTok video explaining what's going on in her love life, and according to her, she's called it quits with her on and off boyfriend Philip Redmond, aka BBW King, again. And this really doesn't come as a shock to anybody really, because since they first came out as a public couple last year, Tammy and Philip have broken up like a million times. And I know I'm kind of exaggerating the number, but honestly, that's just how it really feels. And Tammy's decision to break up with Philip may not have come as a shock to anyone really, because this is something we are just all used to by now. But the reason she gave for her and Philip's breakup was what actually shocked everyone. So according to her, she's, learning more about herself every day, and sometimes things don't just happen the way you want them to. And she also claimed there's no hatred between her and Philip, and that this time around she's decided that she isn't going to go back to him even though he's a good guy. And honestly, between you and me, I think there's definitely more to the story that Tammy doesn't want to let on, and this is because the reason, for their breakup doesn't sound like something Tammy would say at all. It sounds like more at the opposite. And when Tammy first introduced Philip to the world as her new boyfriend, let's face it, no one was happy about their relationship. And when I say no one, I mean no one, except Tammy and Philip, that is. And in Tammy's eyes, Philip was the perfect guy for her, even though we all thought he was far from what she needed. And I mean, it was pretty clear that he was trying, to use her, and not to mention that he was, only with her because of her weight. And even his TikTok profile made it very clear that part of the reason he decided to date her is that she's on the heavier side, and he more or less has no intention of being with a woman who's 1 pound lighter than 300 pounds. And everyone was worried that Philip would just encourage Tammy to keep getting bigger and not focus on her health. And even though he didn't do it directly, that was what ended up happening anyway. And now, even if we decide to overlook the negative effect that Philip obviously had on her health, Tammy and Philip's relationship was anything but a relationship filled with sunshine and roses. I mean, their relationship was filled with so much drama and trouble. At one point, the cops even had to get involved, and according to Tammy back then, Philip was constantly harassing her and calling her multiple times, even though it was pretty clear that she didn't want to speak to him. And she claimed that he had called her up to 20 times in an hour, which I have to say is totally insane. And that's not even the craziest part of the story. Apparently, since he noticed that she wasn't going to pick up his calls, he decided to call her with a private number, and to say that everyone was really alarmed when Tammy made this revelation would be a complete understatement. I mean, we were all scared for her health while she was in this relationship, and then we became scared for her safety too. But then the mother of Philip's children came out to state that everything Tammy had said was a plain lie, and according to her, Tammy was lying about everything that she had said, and the only reason she decided to come out and call Tammy out in her lie was that Tammy took it too far by making the matter public. And apparently Philip wasn't the person who made the crazy amount of phone calls, it was Tammy. And also, he didn't threaten her or do any of the other stuff that she had said. All he did was ask Tammy to leave him alone because he wasn't interested in leaving his family for her. And now it's hard to tell which of them was actually lying because neither of them brought out proof to support their accusations, but the point still remains that Tammy and Philip's relationship, whatever the case may be, was very toxic for her, and we're all glad that she's finally seen that and decided to move on from him. And I honestly hope that she won't go back to him like she always does, and maybe this time around Tammy can focus on getting herself in shape and also getting ready for her gastric bypass surgery while staying far away from the toxic relationships. But we all have to admit that that's easier said than done, because all Tammy seems to get herself tied up with is toxic relationships, and the worst of all was the relationship with Jerry. And even though their relationship was, with each other was mainly a long distance one, it did more damage to Tammy than anyone would have ever expected. Jerry always encouraged Tammy to satisfy her cravings with no concern for her health at all, and it was very obvious to everyone that Jerry didn't have Tammy's best best interest in mind, not to mention that he was also disloyal to her, and to top it all off, Jerry was also married and had 7 kids with a woman named Kia, and from the start of Tammy and Jerry's relationship, it was pretty clear that they, weren't destined to work, and we were all glad when things between them ended, and it's really unclear if Tammy keeps making bad relationship decisions on purpose or not, but still, her track record has left so many people unimpressed with her decision-making skills and her overall character. And I mean, people have gotten so tired of Tammy making the constant mistakes that she does, and now almost everyone is starting to turn against her. And right now, there seem to be more people against Tammy than there are people supporting her, and this wasn't really the case before. And when Thousand Pound Sisters Season 1 premiered, it was actually Amy who was getting the constant backlash from everyone, and Tammy came off as everyone's favorite. But with all the time that has passed by now, it seems to be the actual opposite right now, and Amy seems to be getting her life in order, and she's lost an amazing amount of weight. She's happily married, and she has 2 beautiful boys, and as the time goes on, she makes it a point to let everyone know that she's trying her best to be the best version of herself for everyone around her, especially her family, and Amy's change has made everyone really happy, myself included, and although I wish I could say the same for Tammy, I just really can't. I mean, she's put her health on the back burner, and now it feels like she's just trying to make, herself worse, and like that's not bad enough, she also seems comfortable with letting just anyone in her life, as long as they encourage her to not lose weight and make her feel good about herself. But how long is this really going to last, and will Tammy keep having no regard for herself? Guys, let me know what you think about this in the comments below, and like always, do me a huge favor, hit that like, follow, share, subscribe button, and y'all better stay tuned for many more videos.